Hey YouTubers, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a video response to One More Thread video by Sonic Mainliner. I think he said it's his first thread, so I wanted to make sure I responded to it, and as always, let me know what you guys think, and you know the line. I pretty much say the same thing every time. Four good questions here, and question number one, he kind of asked about, well actually before I get into that, this is what's playing in the background for Bobby Teens. Kind of a, I don't know, a different kind of group, to say the least, as you can tell by the chicks there on the back and the front. Yeah, it's just, I mean, just really kind of some funny Bobby Teen. I mean, the name kind of sums it up. Not quite punkish, but just, I don't know, just some weird stuff. Really not much production value to the LP at all, but it's really fun stuff to listen to. So, but anyway, so that's what's playing in the background. But anyway, let me jump into the questions. Number one, you asked about music memorabilia, just kind of stuff you collect and things like that. There are a lot of odd things that I do collect just because anything music-oriented I just kind of gravitate to, far beyond just the music. And I think you brought up a good point, too, that it's kind of a strange question to ask us as vinyl collectors sometimes, because most people out there in the general public, I guess if you want to say, kind of consider vinyl to be music memorabilia, but for us that's kind of the norm starting point, so it's probably easy for us to get a little wacky when it actually comes to us thinking about collecting beyond memorabilia, beyond vinyl. But again, pretty much anything that revolves around music, I collect it. And I just pulled up a few things that are laying around, like things I haven't actually hung up on the wall and stuff like that. Like for example, so I haven't put this anywhere since I've made my move, but I collect rock and roll buttons. So just all kind of classic rock, 80s, metal. I mean, just kind of anything I stumble across. That's something I like to pick up here and there. I don't have them all in this jacket, but I collect a lot of patches too. So these are the ones I've actually put on the back of my little vest here, but I have a bunch of them that I haven't yet, but I collect those as well. And what else? Books. I collect a lot of books, and I don't do a lot of like artist biographies and things like that, but more so stuff like, actually there's some sitting right over here. Let me grab one quick. I do more stuff like this, stuff like 100 best-selling albums. It kind of goes through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s and talks about and shows the top 20 selling albums of that year and gives information about them and stuff like that. So I love books like that. The Encyclopedia of Punk. It's kind of going from A to Z, which is a lot of different punk bands and bios and information and stuff like that. And then even this here, which is Lynn Goldsmith, Rock and Roll. I guess Lynn Goldsmith is like a really famous photographer that did a lot of stuff with, just with the Who, the Rolling Stones and all of that. And this just kind of goes through and has just a bunch of her photography, shots that she got of bands on concerts and stuff like that. So this is almost pretty much a picture book, but some really, really cool stuff in there. Even this very first shot of the Beatles, just kind of a shot of their boots and their shoes with all four of them standing together, but it's really cool stuff in there. So yeah, I do get a lot of books, but it tends to be stuff like that. I do have a few biographies and things of that nature, but that kind of stuff tends to capture me more. I don't know why. As far as what else I collect, you've seen, I have like DVDs that I'll frame, or not DVDs, but CDs and albums I'll frame, put on the wall, autograph stuff, concert stubs, and I collect those. Yeah, so, T-shirts, that's a really big one. I probably have 40, 45 maybe, different T-shirts, stuff from concerts and just things I pick up here and there. But, so yeah, I definitely have a lot of stuff. And it definitely accumulates, too, because I really tend to, stuff doesn't fade out of my collection when I get it. If I have a T-shirt from 15 years ago, I still have it. You know, it's just kind of, I don't, when it comes to musical stuff, it never leaves once it comes into my collection in any way. You know, I even still have, which I mentioned before, the first cassette that I ever bought out of a store back in 1984, I still have it. You know, every single CD with the exception of 2 that I've had over my lifetime, well, I guess the ones I sold a few years ago and I got in that stupid mode, you know, I still have every single one. So, oh, like right sitting in front of me, coasters. You know, I have a bunch of these little 45 coasters. My mouse pad is a record mouse pad, and I have a Pink Floyd mouse pad, and, you know, just, it's never ending, all kinds of crap. So, anyway, oh, I almost forgot this too, I'm sorry. This is a big one, actually. Also collect posters. These are a few that I don't have hanging up on my walls yet, and the other ones are still kind of tucked away in storage. But, you know, I buy posters. You know, I frame some of them. I mean, you've seen those before. But then others I just buy, and then the guy that frames them for me, I just have him put it on this little, like, cardboard stuff just to make them firm and so they can hold. He charged me like $8 to do that, so it's nothing. But I almost collect these like baseball cards. You know, so it's just like, you know, there's a Miles Davis and, whoa, caught you. There's, you know, Godsmack, Slash, Ziggy Marley, Bob Marley, you know, Dylan, and on and on. I mean, I have a ton of those, but like I said, it's almost like collecting baseball cards. It's just, if I'm walking through a store and I see a poster that just looks kind of cool or whatever, I get the feeling I want to see it again, I'll buy it, frame it. You know, you spend $12, $13 like that, but it's a picture and a memory you have for quite some time. Ultimately, what I would like to do is get one of those, like those things you see in the stores where they sell posters. I've always thought that would be so cool to have the room to do that and to get one of those, and that way just have them all in there where I can just kind of flip through them and look at them whenever I want and all of that. So, yeah, I collect a few musical memorabilia type things. Let me move on to the next question, though. Movies about music or just music DVDs, things like that. My #1 music movie of all time is High Fidelity. I mean, no big surprise there. I don't have it here because actually it's in my car, because I watch it quite a bit when I'm sitting somewhere waiting for an appointment or something like that, so it stays in my car pretty much all the time. But I love that. Other good movies, you know, Rockstar, that's a great movie. Really good music in there too. That group Steel Dragon has some good stuff. Cadillac Records really turned me on the blues more so than I was even prior. That's a really good movie. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check it out. School of Rock was a decent one. I mean, it's okay. What else? Oh yeah, of course, Some Kind of Monsters, a documentary, one of my favorite documentaries of all time. Then I have a lot of these classic albums, you know, like Metallica's Black Album, where they talk about the making of the album and everything. Same thing with Judas Priest, British Steel. What else we got here? A few more here. More kind of the classic album stuff. Elton John, Yellow Brick Road. U2, Joshua Tree. Def Leppard, Hysteria. Nirvana, Nevermind. Godsmack, Smack This, live concert footage, one of my favorite bands of all time right there. Last Supper by Black Sabbath, really good concert footage. When you talk about just a great live sound on that DVD, it's great. I would have loved to have been in that concert. Here's another really good movie. If you're an old school hip hop fan, you better have this. Crush Groove, one of the best, I guess you can say, hip hop movies ever made. Iron Maiden, Flight 666, and last but not least, one of the few things I've said that the Hall of Fame ever got right was this concert, 25th anniversary. As much as they piss me off sometimes, this is one of the best concerts I've ever seen. So, very good stuff there. And then, yeah, just a lot of other just kind of concert footage, like, you know, Tina Turner, some, you know, Simply the Best, a bunch of her videos, and, you The Eagles held Breezes Over, Fleetwood Mac The Dance, Matchbox 20 Storytellers. So yeah, Woodstock, a lot of different stuff as far as DVDs go. But moving right along, good gigs that I've been to. That's kind of a hard question, because I've been to, I think, a lot. I would probably have to say up to this point in time, it would be a tie between the first time I saw Godsmack, when Shinedown opened, and then Rob Zombie came on, and then Godsmack was the headliner. And that show was perfect from front to back. Not to mention I was 7th row center, so that definitely helped. Second best show was probably the first time I saw Metallica. The Sword opened for him, then Down came on with Phil from Pantera, and then Metallica. And again, that was just one of those shows that was just like, what did I just experience type thing. But even looking beyond that, you know, I saw Lionel Richie and Tina Turner. That was a perfect show. Daryl Hall and John Oates put on a heck of a show one time up in Milwaukee. I saw them there. I saw Lionel Richie by himself. Smokey Robinson, he had a great show. Ladysmith Black Mambazo was a really good show. So I mean, it's just hard for me to even think of a lot of shows that just really weren't great, because I just haven't had that experience in this moment the first time I saw them. So I can definitely go on and on about that. Bad gigs that I've been to, I've never really been to a bad gig. If anything, I can say some of the crowds that I've been to, they may have sucked. But as far as band performances, I've never been to a bad band performance. I would say the closest thing I can get to a bad show, and it's not really bad, but more so I wish it was a little bit different, was I've seen Rob Zombie 3 times, and I would see him 30 more times if I get the opportunity, because I love him. And but one of the things that he does at his shows, it's pretty much the theatric presentation as well as the energy is what completely drives his shows. He doesn't make a lot of effort to duplicate the sound or melodies or a lot of what's actually on his albums. So, you know, just from that standpoint, that sometimes can be a little bit disappointing. And I think mainly for me because his lyrics are so great. You know, like if I look at the lyrics of like Thunder Kiss 65, I have no idea what the heck he's talking about, which is one of the things that makes the lyrics so good, because he's just like out there. So when you see him in concert and he's not even singing a lot of the lyrics and skipping over them, that does disappoint me a little bit. But you're so jacked up and excited, you know, it's hard to even be disappointed at all. So that's as close as I can get to saying something bad. Because, like I said, I'd see him 30 more times and would love every second of it, because it's not bad. It's just something I wish was a little bit different. But other than that, like I said, I've been blessed to see all great concerts. I've never had a dollar wasted on going to a show. So, but other than that, well, I take that back. Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, when he went solo, I saw him live one time, and it was one of the most boring things I've ever seen in my entire life. He wasn't with the Smashing Pumpkins; he was doing solo. But I mean, just there was no stage presence. There was no. I mean, it was just so dry. And I guess after you listen to the Pumpkins for so long, and you know the energy that you get from their albums and everything else, you just expected a little something more when you actually saw him. But it was just the most boring, dry thing across the board. So that was probably the most disappointing show that I've ever been to, was seeing him after he went solo. It was cool to see him, but it really was just kind of humdrum. So, but anyway, so that's my, those are my answers, and hope you enjoyed it. And I don't know, I thought it was funny as heck when you said you weren't going to ask about the top 5 because nobody pays attention to that anyway, because it's so true. I was actually laughing for like a good 30 seconds to a minute after you said that, because actually it's just so true. But anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you later. Take care, guys.